This is Cyndy G, and in this video we are assembling the gingerbread bag. This is the boy version of the bag. You can see that I have attached the handle with a brad, and these are the pieces here that come with this. And let's get to working. There's a few extra pieces for the girl. I want to make sure I don't lose those little dots. Okay, so we are going to start by just folding this piece here. Oh, my machine did not cut that one. I think I have a bad place on my mat that gets stuck. Just cut that off. Okay. So we're just going to fold everything on the score lines. This is not a hard file to put together, but it can be a little, I don't know what the right word is. It's not cumbersome, but it just takes a little bit of patience to get this to curve around the base part. So, and I think that I've designed it with the easiest way to get it put together. Now, after I do that, I do like to take my bone folder and just kind of give the two sides a little bit of a curve, just because that's how I want it to go. So I just want it a little bit trained that way. And I'm going to start with these pieces, and I'm going to start by just lining this up side to side right here across the bottom. Okay. Nope. That's on the wrong side. I'm sorry. Let's roll that over. So I did do this to glue to the outside first, because then you can use the edge of the paper as you go around. Okay, so that's what makes this just a little bit trickier. I'm kind of folding this up so that I can push it down against here. And just line that up corner to corner. Okay. And then, see, then we can push it right up against this base and go around. Okay. So we're going to put some glue here. So what you have to be careful of too when you do this is that you're going to get some glue on your table. And when you're putting the face on, you want to make sure that you've cleaned your surface. So you can see I'm pushing with this hand here to get this in tight. And as I'm doing that, I'm using my finger here on the inside to secure those tabs. Okay. All right. And now let's do the other side. Okay. And I'm just pushing especially the top one. Kind of try to get that one anchored first, and then also using my fingers to take off that extra glue inside. Keep it neat. And there's that. Now let's do the tricky side. Kind of opening these up more to help me get that in place. And I'm going to put some glue right here. And then I'm just going to line this right up. Okay. Let's see my tabs. Those two top tabs are the and I think I might no, maybe not. So again, I'm just going to put glue on each tab because now the file is getting kind of closed. It gets a little bit trickier for getting the side attached. Okay, so I'm just pushing it in with my hand. And now again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm rubbing my hand along the inside. You see, I make more of a mess on this side than I did the front. But it's okay because it's going to be covered with the top piece. You may want to put these to the inside. That might be easier for you. I've just always had a little bit of trouble with a curve, and I'm just laying this down to make sure my tabs get laid down. There we go. And again, you kind of want to get this top tab secured. Okay. And I'm just rubbing my hand back and forth around the inside to secure those tabs. And there they are. Okay. Now, the reason I've been cleaning the glue off the mat as I go is because I don't want to have glue spots on my front piece. So, what I did when I cut my piece out, when I took it off my mat, I marked where the top of it was. I mean, when you look at it, you can see that it's kind of shaped different, but I didn't want to start guessing which one was the top. So I did mark it. And so I know that it goes right like this. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on before I put it on the box. And again, a fine tip bottle really comes in handy here so that you don't get too much glue. And you just kind of center it in here. There's no really right or wrong way to put this on. I'm just being careful because I know, see, like right here, I knew my glue got a little bit thick in some places. And again, I don't want to have a mark on the front. Okay, so there is that. And then the other piece that needs to be attached is here on the handle. Pop that out. And it's the frosting for the handle, and it just lines up right below the cutout, and it's the same width as the handle, so you can, it's easy to line right up. I go ahead and get this on so that it can dry. And it'll be ready when I'm ready to put it on. So just use your fingers to line it up inside there. Touch that down. Okay. So there's that. So now just pick your best side for your front. You're going to line this up right to the bottom. And let's see if the other side looks better. Yes. Okay. And we're just going to glue this. So now you don't have to worry about the placement of the eyes or the mouth because they're cut out. You want to make sure when you do this that you get enough glue here where your tabs are, because it's a little bit thicker. I found when I did the boy that you can see here that I needed, so when I did this side I did it a little bit thicker around the edges, that you just need a little bit thicker there because of that. Okay. So I'm going to put the glue on the face, and then I'm going to add glue onto those tabs. And you want to make sure you get your glue all the way out to the edge. So that you're certain that that is getting stuck down well. And you don't want to get too much glue around the cutouts because it's really easy to have that color change happen with black, get that shiny. So see, I'm just kind of putting it on thick around these because these are thick to really help the paper saturate down and get stuck on well. Okay. And then I'm just going to line this up. I'm going to line it up to the bottom first. And I am a messy crafter. I'm sure I'm not the only one. But I do try to keep like the outside neat, even though I'm going to make sure I don't have any glue on there. So now I'm just going to lay this down. I'm going to let my glue ooze out. And I'm just going to really applying more pressure around the edges just to really make sure that gets stuck down well. I'm going to be careful when I lift it up. Okay. And then you just kind of take your finger and just kind of rub it and push those edges down. You can use that extra glue that's oozed out to really make sure that's nice and sealed. Okay. Now I will wipe my hands off, and I do need to wipe the glue off my table. I just have some Windex that I spray onto my towel. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Maybe I'll go ahead and put it on here first. Okay. I use textured paper, so I always have to make sure I'm gluing to the right side. Although it's getting harder and harder to find the colors of textured paper, so I might be forced to switch to smooth. This is the Encore paper, and its weight is only 65 pounds. And so for me, I find that it's a little, I live in the South, so we have humidity. I find that I don't like it as much as I like the 80-pound cardstock, but that is getting harder and harder to find in textured. So maybe Encore will start doing the 85-pound. That would be nice. Okay. So there we have that. Now, what I did with this guy, and you can kind of see it here, is I just took my ink pad and then I went around the edges. It's okay if it touches the white. I just really like inking my edges. And that's all I did there. Whoops. Okay. Now, there are these little dots here for like the reflection of light in the eye. If you want to use a gel pen, I have never had luck with a gel pen. Every time I buy one, it dries out before I can use it. So there are these little reflections to put on here. You can use pickup tool. You can see my hands are pretty sore. That's what happens to my hands in the winter time, but okay, and so I just glue those right on like that. Then there is this piece for the mouth. The little tongue, you just fit it right down in there. And then she has a nose. Okay. Now there is also, oh yes, pieces for the cheek. And I forgot that I had cheek pieces here. I do. Hang on, I'm looking for my pink. I do like to take some pink ink, that rhymes, and ink the edges. No, good. I do have that. Hopefully this has been used. It's not too, yeah, okay. And I just, it doesn't do a whole lot, or it doesn't appear to do a whole lot, but this one isn't my favorite pink. I wish I could find it. It must have dried out and I got rid of it. It just adds just the slightest bit of dimension to that. Okay, so I'm going to glue these into place. Let me see if this is going to be enough. So I do want to ink my bow some. And I don't know if this is going to be enough. I think I'm going to use the brown on this. And I'm just doing it ever so lightly, just kind of grazing it across the top, because I don't want it to be really dark, but I do want the edges to so you're just lining this up right to that curve there in the mouth. Whoops. And for the bow, I'm gonna just so when I glue this on here, I'm only going to glue this in the center because I don't want to flatten out what I just fluffed up. So I glue that right in the center. The same with this, just glue this right in the center. And for the girl, the bow goes on her head. So we're just going to glue this right here. I'm going to glue the center. I think it touched like right in there. There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to take the handle. I'm also going to just touch the edges of this. Then I'm going to use my bone folder and gently, because I don't want to crinkle. When you layer two pieces on top of each other, you don't want them to crinkle. So I do want to kind of train this around a little bit so that I don't mess that up, okay? And then I'm going to use my brads. And these are glittered, so to make sure that the prongs are separated. And you can do the handle to the inside or the outside, whichever you prefer. And there it is. There is the girl and the boy gingerbread bag. Thank you for joining me.